Pensions are going up today, $5.90 a fortnight for singles, $8.80 for couples. Under your new system, which rather than linking it to indexation, to wages, links it to indexation, how much less would people be getting?
Well, if we'd been growing it only at total male average weekly earnings, pensioners today would be over $20 a fortnight worse off since the last election. What we've done since the last election is we've continued what it would have been largely CPI increases. The pension's gone up by over 6%, including today's increase. We also got rid of the carbon tax and kept the carbon tax compensation. Now, that is over $14 for a single pensioner a fortnight and over $21 for a couple pensioner. So they've got the increases on the CPI, substantively, and the carbon tax compensation, which means they're 6% better off today than they were before the election, and they're certainly better off today than they would have been under Labor today.
But if you have a look at this specifically, so they're going up a single, most couples, $8.80 a fortnight for couples. What would that figure be under the new system?
Exactly the same, because that was a CPI increase. And the last one was a CPI increase as well. And so what we've seen is that pensions have gone up faster than wages under this government to date. Now, look, we're still talking about the other measures, Neil, and those measures were put up in the last budget. I'm in a conversation with the crossbenchers. If there are to be changes there, they wouldn't be taking effect until after the next election. So there's plenty of time to work through this. I've had a lot of concerns raised with me about it. I floated in those discussions and it was raised with me an adequacy review. Now, whether that's the ultimate solution to this, we'll see.
What's an adequacy review?
Every 3 years, on top of the CPI increases that you get every 6 months, there would be a back to basics review of, is the pension adequate to support people in the community? Now, assessing adequacy.
It's not now, probably.
Well, the Labor Party did an adequacy review a few years ago, and that's when there was a change to pensions, and we've had the indexation since then. Now, what I'm saying is it is important to make sure the pension's adequate. No one's suggesting it's a lavish payment, but people have worked hard over their lives, and those who have to rely on the pension, then we need to make sure that it's at an adequate level.
If couples are on a full pension, how much is it?
Currently, it is over $1,200 a fortnight for couples.
Okay, is that enough to live on?
Well, it's $1,296.80, and based on the most recent reviews that were done and the indexations that applies, that's the trajectory that said it would be adequate. Now, what I'm saying is every 3 years we could be just doing a check again against a whole range of cost of living measures and make sure it's up to scratch. Now, at present, not everybody's got on board with that idea. That's okay. That's what the nature of a negotiation discussion is.
So is that's not a policy, it's just a discussion point?
It's trying to work our way through the issue.
But you obviously favour it. You would like a review every 3 years.
What I would like is for the pension to be adequate. And in just talking with stakeholders in the sector, these are ideas that have been floated with me that I think are worth discussing. And what I'm trying to get to, Neil, is where we have a pension that is sustainable in terms of its cost. It's costing today over $40 billion a year. That's going to rise to almost $70 billion in the next 10 years. Other issues that are then raised in this discussion is, well, is everyone who's on the pension, should they be on the pension? Now, that's issues that are being raised with me, by those in the sector, by pensioners themselves. And so that's why we're having, I think, a pretty good look with people about, well, how better can we encourage people to use the capital they have to support their cost of living and to support their way of life as they want to lead it in their retirement years.
Well, you say not everybody on the pension should be on the pension. How broad is the rorting on the pension?
Well, with every pension payment, with every New Start allowance, DSP, all of these sorts of things, you're always going to have people who take a loan of the system, and that's why we're also having a look at upgrading our integrity measures and compliance through the Department of Human Services, and Maurice Payne and I are working on some changes there. You're always going to get some rorting, but then there's just the general question of eligibility. Now, this is what the debate has to be about. I think the one option you can't go with is do nothing. And that's what Labor's suggesting, do absolutely nothing. And what that means is you drive the pension off a cliff within the next 10 years, and a Minister for Social Services in the future and a Treasurer is going to have to put in place a short, sharp shock to deal with the problem.